All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome back. So today in this video, I'm going to be doing a daily market forecast for tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be Wednesday, May 27th, 2026. So without further ado, let's take a look at the economic calendar right here. You can see that Wednesday, we pretty much don't have anything tomorrow in terms of economic news. We do have Euro orange folder and New Zealand dollar orange folder, but that's just overall not interesting. So I think tomorrow the volatility that we saw today is most probably going to die down a little bit and then pick back up towards the end of the week, especially at 8:30 on Thursday. Okay? So that's it for the economic calendar. So I don't expect a lot from tomorrow. We'll see. We'll adapt. So starting with the dollar. So the dollar, as you remember, we had the sting inside that weekly fair value gap. Now today we started pushing higher from it, but if we look on the 4 hour, this move higher, this leg moving higher right here, is very weak. We don't really have a fair value gap. We have one here, one fair value gap, and we already mitigated it. So now it's just a swing low that's left there. So this entire move higher is pretty weak. Even on the 1 hour, doesn't seem that strong. So I would be tempted to say that we could sweep the rejection low one more time. So the initial sting that we got inside that weekly fair value gap, we could potentially come all the way back down, sweep it to then get the real move to the upside. That's one scenario, and I think that's the highest probability scenario. The other scenario is that we just keep going higher from here. It's also, well, I think both scenarios are very possible. It's just at this moment in time, it's really 50-50. I can't tell if price is just going to start moving higher from it right away, or, oops, sorry, or is price going to drop all the way back to that rejection low, sweep it to then get the real move to the upside. It's really hard to tell at this moment in time. And that kind of goes with the idea that we don't have any news coming out tomorrow, and that could explain um, why we won't have a very clear bias right now. So that's it for the dollar. Overall, still remain bullish on the dollar. I just think that short term, maybe we could have some bearish price action. Okay? So let's take a look at GU. GU actually looks pretty good. The rejection from that weekly fair value gap is very, very strong, as you can see with today's candle that just closed. Um, we also have a 4 hour fair value gap to, push lower from. It's possible, okay? So it's a possibility. It's the highest like the highest probability thing for price to do right now is to retrace inside this 4 hour fair value gap and to then start moving lower. But again, the dollar doesn't seem like that's what it wants to do, and everything is based on the dollar. So this 4 hour fair value gap could be a trap, okay? So just be aware of that and be very careful. But overall, GU does look really good. It does look really good. So you could wait for price to retrace in here, and then depending on your strategy, the concepts you use, you could wait for this fair value gap to get confirmed and that it's actually holding. And then yes, taking a short here would be beautiful on GU. But again, it's all about monitoring the dollar and seeing what the dollar wants to do first. EU, yeah, this one is not very interesting anymore. It's gonna remain on the interest list for later during the week, but for now, it just didn't really go anywhere today. We still never got the sting back into the weekly fair value gap, and so as long as we don't get that, EU's just not interesting for this week. Okay? And finally, same thing here on USD JPY. I would say let's just wait for retracement inside that weekly fair value gap if we do get one. So at least we have one major that we can focus on, and that's GU. I think GU looks really good, okay? For tomorrow, but also for the remainder of the week. And let's just wait for the dollar to clear up. All right. So now moving on to gold. I am gonna remove some stuff. All right. Okay, so gold, what did I say yesterday in the forecast? I said gold is gonna open and it's gonna sweep this high, this rejection high, and then completely continue lower. Okay. I said it was gonna look something like this. Well, that didn't happen exactly, but something really close to that happened is that we actually swept the previous day high to then continue lower. Okay, if we look on the 15 minute, you can see it clearly right here. We get one little sting above that swing high, and then we just completely start going lower, which is exactly what I thought would happen. Well, not exactly. I just thought that this candle could have maybe swept this high as well and then move lower, but to me, um, that was the sweep. When I saw when I woke up like in the morning around like 7 and I saw this, I said, okay, there's no way we're gonna sweep this rejection high now. The sweep already happened and it was this one. So yeah, overall, very good day. Honestly, for me, I really don't like sharing I don't like sharing like my trading, my actual trading, but just know that today was like one of my best days ever in trading. Ever. Literally like ever. Anyways, um so yeah, overall bearish on gold, I would say. I think the next target is obviously this low. There's no doubt about that. The only problem is that we don't really have context. We don't have 4 hour context. We don't have a 4 hour fair value gap. Um, we have one all the way up here. That's pretty far. That's honestly really, really far. I just don't think that we're gonna get a retracement all the way up here to then continue lower. Because if we do get a retracement all the way up inside this 4 hour fair value gap, it's most likely because we want to continue higher instead. Okay, so I think again, because of the lack of news tomorrow, the volatility might die down and price might just consolidate. And we'll reevaluate in the forecast tomorrow. But overall, the bias short on gold. Silver, I would say silver, the bias should be long here. Well, again, no, not necessarily. It's about seeing what happens with this 4 hour fair value gap. So we already got a sting into it late during the day. Now let's wait for this to either be confirmed or disrespected, and then we can figure out where silver wants to move. Does it want to disrespect the fair value gap, sweep that high to then continue lower? That's possible. And that would be the same story on gold as well, where we go all the way up here, disrespect this 4 hour fair value gap, sweep the rejection high to then continue lower. That is also very possible. So it's just about monitoring again what happens. But right now, pretty much all the markets are kind of like in a 50-50 gray area. And that's, I think, it's just because, the volatility is dying down and tomorrow is not going to move a lot. So moving on to crude oil. So crude oil very similar than all the other markets. So like I said yesterday, I did mention it yesterday. Today was going to be bullish, and that's what we got today. Um, oil came all the way back up to like 96, 97 at some point during the day. So, so yeah, overall good day for oil in a certain way. We got higher prices, but now the problem is that on the 4 hour, we don't have a fair value gap. The only fair value gap that we actually have is this one, but that fair value gap is very low in the like a little bit like on gold. And so I don't think that we're going to retrace all the way back here to then continue higher. If we retrace back here, that means that we want to actually disrespect it and continue lower instead. But that's not what's going to happen because today, the mood on Wall Street, the main story today was about, the deal with Iran. But then people figured out that yeah, they're having talks for a deal, but at the same time, Iran is shooting down like U.S. planes and U.S. aircrafts. And so again, it was a little bit of confusion around all of that because Trump says something, and then obviously, like we said in the forecast yesterday, the complete opposite happens. And clearly, we're seeing that they're not going to be reaching a deal anytime soon, and that's what made oil go higher. So I think tomorrow is going to be a pretty chill day in the Strait of Hormuz. I think nothing is really going to be changing. There's not going to be any big announcements. Um, it's just mostly going to be a very chill day on the markets tomorrow. Crude oil could just consolidate or, you know, trend in a consolidating way. What I mean by that is having a consolidating trend going higher like this. It's very ugly, but it ends up moving higher at the end of the day. We'll see. We'll see. But overall, I still keep my bullish bias here on oil. Moving on, we're almost done. Bitcoin. Bitcoin, beautiful. I love what I'm seeing here on Bitcoin. By the way, for those who don't know, I really want Bitcoin to crash. I really expect that Bitcoin is going to sweep this low one more time around, the 55, 60K area. And after that, we're going to get the real move. So, um, I'm really waiting for this moment for investment purposes. Oops, there we go. So yeah, Bitcoin, I like what I'm seeing today, minus 1.75%. 4 hour looks good. Looks good to continue lower. Honestly, again, since tomorrow doesn't have any news, I would rather wait for Bitcoin, wait for daily fair value gap to get created so that on Thursday we can sting back into it and continue lower. But that's encouraging here. I like what I'm seeing on Bitcoin. Then the indices, so the S&P is wicking the previous all-time high, which is concerning. That's concerning right here. It's the same candle as Friday. I honestly I a little bit confused by this candle right here. Does that mean that we might want to head lower? It's possible. Technically, this is a fair value gap, so maybe we could just retrace back into it to continue higher, maybe. But overall, yeah, I still think we could again reach a new all-time high tomorrow on the indices. But the S&P 500 has been relatively weak compared to Nasdaq, because the story today, I don't know if you followed what was going on Wall Street today, but Micron, stock Micron, let me show you. It's MU, ticker name MU. Micron just surged like how much on the day? Something crazy, like 20%. Yeah, it surged 20% during the day. Let me show you. Boom. There you go. That's 20% in one day. And yeah, overall, I think it's UBS, the financial service UBS, they raised their price target all the way up to like 1600 or something. That literally means that they're expecting the price of this stock to double within the next like 5 years, which is kind of crazy. Anyways, the whole semiconductor and chip manufacturing sector had a great day today, and that's why we're seeing this on Nasdaq and this on the S&P. It's just that today on the stock market, the stocks that were really strong were all those chip makers and semiconductor stocks. And all of these stocks are usually listed on the Nasdaq, and that explains a very strong move to the upside. So again, for Nasdaq to tomorrow, I would just expect a consolidation, creating a daily fair value gap overlapping with the fair value area high, and then maybe Thursday during the day we can just sting into it to continue higher. So yeah, S&P and Nasdaq, even though S&P is a little bit weak towards the end of the day, I still believe that we're going to see higher prices overall on the indices. And finally, let's take a look at um, well, the crosses. So I remember that Canadian dollar CHF was the favorite crosses yesterday. So this is the new target, by the way. So okay, so today we got the we got the retracement inside the daily fair value gap. Now we monitor two candle rejection. If this second candle, so today's candle, if it can, create the proper setup and confirm this daily fair value gap, then that could be still very interesting. Let's keep an eye on this. Euro CHF, it's similar. It's very similar, but again, we need to wait for that daily fair value gap to get confirmed or disrespected. We need some kind of confirmation here. But I do prefer Canadian dollar CHF. And finally, GBP New Zealand dollar. Yeah, we did create this tiny, ugly looking fair value gap. I don't like that. But again, I think we have the opportunity to create, it's not created yet, but we have the opportunity to create this one. This one would also be overlapping with this fair value area, so that looks better to me. But again, we need to see, can we create that daily fair value gap to start with? If we do create that fair value gap, then later during the week, it could be interesting to have a sting back into it to continue higher. So that's still on the interest list. Nothing changes. But yeah, overall, I don't see like great opportunities in the near future on anything, whether it's gold, oil, Bitcoin, dollar, whatever. I don't see immediate opportunities because I just think that overall the market is going to be low volatility tomorrow and mostly consolidation. So take a step back tomorrow. Not saying you shouldn't trade if you do see your edge, if you do see your setup, please take it. But overall, I just want you to keep in mind that overall it's going to be low volatility and potentially consolidation. Okay? Just keep that in mind. All right, well, that's it for the forecast. Thank you for listening, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.